What are some tips for calming anxiety? I'm Dr. Sandra. Welcome to Embrace Now's YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe below for more tips and tricks on coping with daily stress and anxiety. Today, we're going to get into some categories of different coping strategies for anxiety. So first, we have something called cognitive reframing or restructuring. So what that looks like is anxious thoughts that prompt anxiety are one of the most kind of pervasive things that lead to the anxious experience for humans. So noticing, seeing if you can catch your anxious thoughts when they occur. So some tips for that, things to look out for to catch anxious thoughts. One, the what if. If a thought has what if in it, look a little closer because you might be engaging in something called fortune telling or trying to predict the future. Thoughts that try to predict the future, especially in an unsettling or negative way, are an anxious thought. We also might look out for to catch something called mind reading, where we're kind of inserting a thought in someone else's mind. So that might look like, oh, he doesn't like me, or oh, they're mad at me. That would be mind reading. So thoughts like that are often kind of an alert to catch that anxious thought. Lastly, we have all or nothing thinking, thoughts that really feel extreme. They state things in a definite and permanent way. All or nothing thinking, look out for words like never, always, there's no way, should. Those might be kind of little, again, alarms or cues that you have an anxious thought to catch there. Once you catch the thought, catching it is the first step. Whenever we catch it, that's great. Try not to beat yourself up if you finally catch it when you're a little bit far down into worry or rumination. Once you catch it, that's awesome. We're ready to pivot. Second step is going to be to challenge that thought once you catch it. So that's going to look like asking yourself a couple questions about this thought. One is, do I know for sure this is true? Another might be, is there any other explanation? And lastly, asking yourself, what would I say to a close friend or a loved one in my shoes right now? If I plopped my best friend into this situation, having this thought, what would I say to them? And seeing if you could apply that to yourself. So after we challenge and ask ourselves those questions, the third step is claim. We are going to claim a more helpful alternative thought. So we can't get rid of that anxious or upsetting thought we had. We can now choose to claim a more helpful alternative. So after answering those questions, when you challenge the thought, see if you can land on something that feels more helpful, a little more rational or realistic to claim in that moment. So those are your steps for coping and calming anxiety through cognitive restructuring or reframing. Catch, challenge, claim, the 3 C's. Another way to calm anxiety is the coping skill of mindfulness practice. Mindfulness can look like a lot of things. And really what it has to be to meet criteria for mindfulness is bringing your full awareness to the present moment, both your surroundings as well as any sensations or experiences you're feeling within that present moment. So a quick tip on something to do. I mean, we have a whole course on mindfulness called Embrace Now, mindfulness skills in our Embrace Now learning community. So definitely check out our website through the link on our channel if you're interested in a lot of ideas for mindfulness. But a very quick practice is something called 5-4-3-2-1 sensory grounding. So what you would do is take a moment, look around at your surroundings, notice your experience. Think of 5 things you can see in your present moment. So look around, name 5 things you see. Then you're going to name 4 things you can touch around you. Maybe it's the table, maybe it's your thighs, maybe it's the chair, whatever it is. 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear. Do you hear air conditioning in the background? Do you hear the sound of your own breath? 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. And then 1 thing you could taste if something you could taste is accessible in that moment. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. Go through each step and you've practiced mindfulness. The third helpful strategy to calm anxiety is using self-care. So taking care of yourself. There's 2 kind of categories of self-care. One is kind of our basic needs. So that might be making sure you've eaten, you're not feeling hungry, making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure you are taking care of yourself when you're not feeling well. You're preventing burnout by giving yourself the rest that you need and not kind of pushing past your limit. So a summary to basic self-care is rest is productive. So making sure you're truly embodying that rest is productive. Other self-care are things that you enjoy or things you kind of need to do to take care of yourself that feel reinforcing and productive. So examples of that might be watching something you find really funny or enjoyable, spending time with loved ones, doing a hobby or thing you're interested in. Examples of things that are kind of more taking care of yourself that might not be so much fun, but really do feel reinforcing and productive is getting your laundry done, checking off, that doctor's appointment that you needed to go for a checkup. Things like that are, even though they're not maybe fun, they're still self-care, and that reinforcing nature of achievement, checking off a box, can really help us just feel cared for and more positive mood-wise. So the 4th and final kind of thing to do to cope with or calm anxiety is making sure that we're decreasing any avoidance related to the anxiety. Unfortunately, avoiding really increases anxiety over time. And the reason for that is when we avoid what we're anxious about, we stay stagnant. If we believe that thing is bad or scary or uncomfortable and we keep avoiding, we're going to keep believing that because we have no experience to kind of start chipping away at that belief. When we start to face what we've been avoiding, face that anxiety, we have the chance to start chipping away at that belief and maybe adding some new learning or new beliefs about that thing. So that's why it's so important to start just baby steps, gradual movement towards the thing you're feeling anxious about if you've been avoiding it. So start thinking for yourself, how can I slowly inch towards this thing? And see if you can start taking small baby steps each day. The smallest baby steps still count and still mean a lot towards your coping and your healing and calming anxiety. There's also a course on decreasing avoidance in our online learning community, so be sure to check that out as well. Make sure that you consult with a licensed mental health provider before utilizing or trying any of the strategies discussed in this video. Thank you.